And now the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has warned that there is the possibility of worst-case fuel scarcity to happen in the country. However, IPMAN said its scarcity can be averted only if the federal government prevailed on the Nigerian mainstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authority to pay 500 billion bridging claims by its members. The lack of payment for the transportation claims has pushed many members out of business and affected the industry due to the high cost of diesel, according to the association. So let's get talking now, right away. I have my guest with me, Mr. Dele Tajudeen Lamidi, CEO at TJ Petroleum Company Limited and Western Zone Chairman, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Appreciate your time, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, so let's start from this claim. What are these transport claims about, called bridging claims, by members of your association?
Yeah. As I've said in so many times, that the issue of petroleum products, full deregulation is the final solution to our problems. Because the issue of this bridging claim is all about, you want to sell petrol at 165 in Lagos, and you also want to sell at 165 in Maiduguri. Whereas the cost of transporting from Lagos to maybe depots in Southwest, especially Lagos, Ogun, and the rest, can still enable you to sell at 165. But as far as you move up to the Ekiti, Ondo, up north, the price cannot be the same unless otherwise that product is being loaded in either Maiduguri depot, Kano depot, or the rest. But the products are not available there. So once the system is not deregulated, so the NMPC, they call something Petroleum Equalization Fund Management Board. Those are the people in charge of paying certain amount of money to the marketers who transport the product from this Lagos to wherever they are taking it to. So, but in a situation where it's fully deregulated, there's not going to be something like that. So you would now sell at your own price. It's like somebody bringing cow from Maiduguri to Lagos now. It's going to sell at its own price. It's not going to be the same price in Maiduguri as much as... so we want to rely on government for everything. And it's like we are still postponing the evil days. The government cannot afford this deregulation.
Before we get into that, Mr. Chairman, before we get into that, let's talk about, let's dwell a bit on what you just said. You said that it's part more of like a subsidized, scheme, initiative to subsidize transportation, isn't it? From those who transport from here to maybe, for instance, to the north and some other part of the country which is far away. And so the question now will be that which of the government agencies is responsible for that? Is it the PPROA or the NNPC? And what arrangement, did you agree with them? At what interval was this paid?
Okay, you see, there is a template for this by PPPRA. There's a template prepared. So this amount of money, for every marketer that loads any product, this transportation has been embedded in the system. So the people in charge of pricing is PPRA, but people in charge of paying is Petroleum Equalization Fund Management Board.
But some of your members are pointing to Nigerian midstream and downstream petroleum regulatory authority.
Yes. It has been, the agencies has been collapsed to one now. So it's now under the former DPR.
Okay. Now, the question I want to ask now, what's the arrangement like? At what interval, was this agreement paid, this fee? At what interval? Every 3 months? And why do you have to wait for it to accumulate to over 500 billion naira before you can start talking about this?
I think under normal circumstances, once you leave that product, and that's what we call a cooler, from one location to the other, once it is certified that you actually brings in the product, like if I load from Lagos and I'm going to Maiduguri, it has to be satisfied in Maiduguri that I actually loaded that product from Lagos and is delivered to Maiduguri. Once it is certified, in a very proper arrangement, I think the payment should not be more than a month, because for every product loaded, they have been in the charts. They have already embedded that money into it. It's just that the way government treats, not limited to independent law, but to everybody in this country. You play your own part, but they will refuse to play their own part because they believe there's no absolutely nothing you can do. Otherwise, it should not last more than a month for the documentation. Because it is automated.
So what response are you getting from the government now as regards paying this fund?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I am not in that category, because Southwest, we load our products from the depot here and we deliver them. So it affects mostly people from the northern part of the country. So, and I don't want to say what I don't know. I'm not the one that's saying that because of the 500 billion or something like that. I'm not the one saying it. So I think you can get more response from those people who are affected, but I'm not affected. My area of jurisdiction is just Southwest here, and we are not actually affected by the bridging claims.
Well, I assume that perhaps you exchange ideas and information with other members of your association who are not within Southwest, but other parts of the countries or other region of the country as well. But I want to ask if this is paid, do you think some of your members, especially those who are affected, will still proceed on strike? Because we also understand, and by report, that there are queues within the Abuja metropolis and some other part of the northern state as well.
If you see any queue, I don't think it is as a result of this bridging claim. I must be sincere, because it is not only independent marketer that is doing bridging. We have the major marketers, we have the NMPC retail. I think that should be as a result of inavailability of products, or as a result of the hike in the price of diesel. Most people cannot afford to buy the diesel at about 660, 700 and take it. In fact, the cost of diesel would have even consumed the total amount that you are going to collect. So we are left with nothing. I think there's need for adjustment on the price being paid, because as this was done up to about 200-300% increase, and last that it's just only 25% that the government has approved for the increment. So most people have withdrawn their vehicle, or they are unable to maintain their vehicle as a result of this the price. So for me, we have the NMPC, we have the NMPC retail owned by government, we have the Total, Mobile, and the rest. And we have also Rano and some other big marketers that they breach on daily basis.
Okay.
So for me, I don't want to say what I don't know. But as of today, US, I'm aware that they are owing people, but I don't know whatever, because we have the national body who is responsible for this.
Okay. When we come back, of course, we'll take a moment, but when we come back, we'll look at Jet A1. We understand that some marketers are getting the license. I don't know if they are part of your association, getting license after 3 months or in the next 3 months to start importing Jet A1 aviation fuel. I think we'll look at that, but I need you to stay on. Please just stay by. We'll be back in a moment. Well, still to come after the break, a move to resolve the aviation fuel crisis gets underway as NNPC and airlines operators agree on 3 months supply of the commodity at 480 naira per litre after a stakeholders meeting on Monday. Well, this is our next talking point when we come back from this break. Please stay with us.
Are you a business owner looking for the right exposure to attract massive clients to your brand? The long search is definitely over. SME Hub allows you to showcase your products and services to a wide range of viewers and buyers nationwide. For further inquiries, please call Alero on 081 323 43262, or you can send an email to alero.obidere@ibrandtv.com. Grow your brand and boost your business on SME Hub, live on iBrandTV, where business comes first.
Glad to have you back now. The House of Representatives held a stakeholders meeting to resolve the aviation fuel price increase with Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited and domestic airline operators reaching an agreement. Part of the agreement is for the carriers to obtain the aviation fuel at 480 naira while they obtain their importation licenses. Right, let's get talking right away. Mr. Dele Tajuddin Lamidi, CEO, TJ Petroleum Company Limited, and Western Zone Chairman, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. He's still with us. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
I mean, let's get your opinion. Of course, it's still within the same sector. Let's begin with the 480 naira supply price from NNPC. What effect or change do you suppose this will bring to the development?
Well, in my own opinion, number one, airline operators or airline operation is purely personal. It's not government business. They are business owners like any other industries that are buying diesel at 650, 700 naira per liter. So, and of course, government, the legislatures, I think they have to expedite action on this PIA bill and lay down all this problem once and for all. Because everybody cannot be passing their problem on government. Because of this Russian-Ukraine war, it affects everybody all over the world. And in the US, in the UK, and other clouds, they don't pass this the buck on government. They pass it on their customers. Poor people don't enter aircraft for crying out loud. It shouldn't be the responsibility of government. Yes, it's the responsibility of government to bring in the fuel. And if the government is failing in their responsibility in bringing in the fuel, then they should allow the operators to bring in the fuel by themselves. Because there's inefficiency in government business over time. If you look at most of government business, there's inefficiency. So the sector is deregulated. The diesel is deregulated. We are buying diesel at 650, 700 naira. The industries are not crying about it. They pass the buck on the listing. So the issue of threatening to go on strike, they should increase their price. What you buy is what they are going to sell. Already government is indebted because, like I said, by the time government is just promising people this and that, they pass it on the masses, and the poor masses are suffering.
Let me quickly come in here. Do you think that is a solution right now? Because they can do that. They can pass the cost to their customers, the passengers. No doubt about that. They can do that. Anyone in business can do that. But again, when you look at the issue, it's fundamental here. The cost of aviation fuel, some have attributed to the fact that we are not refining locally here. That's one. Two, we are importing, and of course those who are importing cannot even have access to forex. So there's a whole lot of issues around it. It's a fundamental issue, really. So even when you tackle it at the end or from the business angle, you still have to deal with it fundamentally. What's your position about this?
Well, I agree with you in totality, but whatever cost the pass of government or government subsidize anything, it still come down to the poor masses losing some things. For example, if government subsidize anything, if government, by whatever means, if government subsidize, you and I, the poor people, are going to bear the brunt. Our hospitals will suffer, our roads will suffer, and we'll continue to record debit today, debit tomorrow. And you know how much Nigeria government is using to service debts day in, day out. So, for me, let us, call a spade a spade. Let us hold the bull by the horn. Let us take a decisive decision and let us put this thing behind us. It has been there for long. It's happening everywhere all over the world. Today in the US, Canada, and everywhere, the price of oil has gone up. But unfortunately, government themselves, because they have not been doing the needful before, so that's why everybody has to run to government whenever they have problems. If you have your private business and you have issue with the price of fuel and the rest, then it should not be the problem of government. Let them sell what they buy.
Okay.
Because each time you run to government, it is the poor masses that at the long run, it is we masses that is going to suffer for it.
Well, exactly the point, of course, of this discussion. How much do you think the poor masses can afford? Because as it is now, a ticket is selling for as high as 100 to 120,000 naira. How concerned are you about that?
Well, it is not the poor masses that enter aircraft. The poor masses are entering Los Angeles buses to Aba, to Maiduguri, to Kano, and the rest. So they should not, they should not suffer what they have not enjoyed. The hospitals there will suffer if government take out of whatever money to subsidize for the airline. That's what I'm saying. The airline operators, they are big people. They have money. They import almost all the parts of their this thing. They import the aircraft itself. So if the price of this thing, the fuel went up, they increase the price. My brother, poor people doesn't enter aircraft, so let us be sincere. So poor people should not suffer. Let me
yes. This is, of course, it's a big debate or big issue. It's thrown a lot of conversation and debate. If you also look at it again, recently, since the increase in the insecurity situation in Nigeria, even the poor masses that you talked about have resorted to using the aircraft as well as a means of transportation, just to save its own life as well. That's a debate that is for another day. But let me ask you, are your members, either at the national level or at the zonal level, part of this arrangement, talking about license to import aviation fuel into the country?
Let me be sincere with you. Most independent marketers are not participants in this aviation fuel of 18. Almost it's being done by the major marketers, some big short, So hardly you see any independent marketer in the aviation industry. It's not. We are not serious partaker in the industry. So it doesn't really affect independent marketer because I'm speaking for independent marketer. But my point is that masses should not suffer because each time government gives out subsidies to anybody, it affects other industries like our roads, our hospitals, and the rest. So I agree with you. There's insecurity in the country, but for me, if you cannot travel now, if there's anything you can do, if it is not too important. But if you are representing a company because the company you want to go and represent the company in Abuja, fine, your company should be able to pay. If it is not personal, if you are going for marriage and the rest, you boycott it. If you are going for naming ceremony because somebody is doing naming ceremony in Abuja and you cannot afford to go, you leave it.
It's all right. It's a whole lot of issues that we have to discuss. But on this note, we want to thank you for coming on the program, Mr. Tajuddin Lamidi, CEO TJ Petroleum Company Limited, and is also the Western Zone Chairman, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. Thank you for coming on Business.
Thank you for having me.
All right.